Just give me 1 second. So real quickly, my name is Julie, and I'm so happy and honored to be sharing with you all tonight. Myself, along with Amy and our friend Bridget, who's also sharing, we are a part of a unique community called the Healthy Living Revolution. I'm not going to tell you much more about myself because I'm going to share my story in just a little bit. But as a group, we really are coming together to just lock arms and come alongside families and individuals who are trying to take their health back. And we want to give them ways to do it that are simple, doable, and fun. So that is what the Healthy Living Revolution is. We are very excited to share the information with you that we're going to share tonight and expect that you'll get some great value out of it. I'm going to go through a lot very quickly, so I'll try my best not to talk too fast, but I really just can't help it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The reason we are getting out of our comfort zones, and Amy invited you on this call tonight, is because there are two very startling trends that are happening in our world today. And the first is that environmental toxins are increasing. Is this moving along okay? It says my connection's unstable. Amy, nod at me if it's okay. Oh, I muted you out. Hold on.
I see Unger's. I don't see your screen.
I know. Can you hear me though?
I hear you, Sarah.
I know. I told you this is challenging.
Oh no, okay, so Amy, you still can't see my screen?
I don't see your screen. I see UNG 79669, which I think I'm assuming is Sarah.
That's me.
It's
That's
me.
her. I'm her daughter, and I'm sorry. Hi.
Okay.
I can leave it and then come back and see if.
No, I could see Julie's screen before, but then I started clicking on stuff on my screen. So,
okay.
There. I can see your screen now, Julie.
Okay, I'm going to mute them out because the reason you're seeing their screen is because they're talking. So, as long as everybody stays muted, we should be good. Can you see my screen now, Amy? Give me a
I can. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Sorry, we should be good. Sorry, my internet. I'm at the lake and my internet's kind of in and out. So. Currently, what we're dealing with is environmental toxins are increasing. So whether this is products that we're putting on our skin, the water that we're drinking, the pharmaceuticals that we're taking, the food that we're eating, the air that we're breathing, we are exposed today to more and more chemicals and toxins than our grandparents were, and boatloads more than our grandparents' grandparents were. And while that is happening, at the same time, our food quality is decreasing. So I love this image because this gentleman is shopping in the center aisles of the grocery store. And I have learned that for the most part, when I'm shopping in the middle of the grocery store, I'm typically not always buying food, but I'm buying food-like products. I made a really big switch in my journey about 5 to 6 years ago where I stopped paying attention to calories and fat, and I started looking at ingredient labels instead. And so now I aim for less than 5 ingredients and all ingredients that I can pronounce. And you will be shocked at really what is in your food when you start reading ingredient labels. So many things that you do not even recognize. So our food, unfortunately, is full of even more toxins. So it's supposed to be helping us fight the increased toxicity from the environment. And unfortunately, our food quality is decreasing. So this is Dr. David Katz. He's the head of prevention at Yale. And he said this may be the first generation of children to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. Unfortunately, since he made that quote, it's actually been proven true that if we do not make changes, this will be the first generation of children to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. But that's why we're on the call, because we're totally going to make the necessary changes to reverse that stat. I feel very confident. By age 12, many of our children have developed the beginning stages of hardening of the arteries. 1 in 3 children is obese, 1 in 3 will develop diabetes, and more than 25% of our children take prescription drugs on a regular basis. And this is Dr. Bill Sears. He is known as America's pediatrician, and he shares that adults really aren't faring much better. So 1 in 3 people live with some form of cardiovascular disease. 1 in 3 women will have cancer. 1 in 2 men will have cancer. 1 in 3 will have diabetes by 2050, and 1 in 3 is obese. So what we're excited about is, that's pretty downer, but is that quote that he put at the bottom, 75% of all chronic disease is preventable. this increase in disease is happening for a reason, but there is quite a bit that we can do to help arm our bodies to be able to fight this disease. The problem is, I think in the past, people have been very overwhelmed by the changes that they need to make. So we're going to talk about what we need to do. So oxidative stress is linked to poor health. So I want you to consider an apple. And when you cut an apple open and that inside of the apple is exposed to the oxygen, it begins to oxidize. The same thing is happening in our bodies. When we breathe in and out, our bodies, our cells are literally oxidizing. And it's our aging or our rusting process. The same way an apple browns, our body's doing the same thing. In fact, our wrinkles is a sign of our oxidative stress. And there's really nothing we can do about it, right? If we're breathing, we have oxidative stress. But our best defense is antioxidants. So you know when you take that apple and you squeeze lemon juice on it, it delays the browning or the aging process. And the same thing happens to us internally. When we eat as many fruits and vegetables as we can, as many antioxidants as we can, we literally are providing a barrier around our cells to help keep them as healthy as possible. And that's oxidative stress in a very layman's version. So we all know where we get antioxidants from, right? Fruits and vegetables. But unfortunately, today's mass-produced produce is packing a much less nutritional punch. So the fact that we can go to Schnucks and literally buy almost any fruit or vegetable is awesome. But in order for them to get that quantity and that quality available, or variety available to us every single day, they're having to pick these plants about 2 to 3 weeks before they are ready. They actually are usually picked 2 weeks before we buy them in the grocery store, and then they're designed to be able to sit on our shelves for another week before we eat them. Well, our produce gets most of its nutrition within the last 24 to 48 hours of ripening on the vine. And unfortunately, that's just not happening with our plants. We are, you know, when you go to the grocery store and you buy green bananas, they haven't even come close to being as ripe as they should be. Also, there's a terrible thing going on called soil depletion, which is causing our produce to have much less nutrition. So that's a little too unique for me to go into right now, but you can Google it. It's very, very real. And it's the reason why we're seeing those crazy stats above, because even our produce is much less nutritious than it used to be. This image is very powerful. So this is the iron content in a bowl of spinach in 1953. In 1997, you had to eat 43 bowls of spinach to get the same iron content that you did in 1953. And that was 21 years ago. So I don't know where we are right now, but I know that it's definitely not much better. And it explains why we're having the healthcare crisis that we're having today. Oh no. Ooh, okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything there. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what was supposed to be there. That's not there anymore. Okay, so this is the difference between a multivitamin and an apple. So many people are alarmed to know that an apple actually they have located that there's over 20,000 different ingredients present in one apple. And they found over 25,000 different ingredients in one blueberry. And right here listed next to this apple is 400 named ingredients that there is. So back in the 1950s and 1960s, we knew that we had a deficiency, and we knew that we needed to bridge the gap. And we thought that fruits and vegetables had 12 essential ingredients. And since then, this is actually relatively new research that we've learned how many ingredients really are present. And really, we don't even know yet. We're scratching the surface. They believe we may never really even know everything that God put into an apple to make it so wonderful in our bodies. But we knew we had this deficiency, so we came up with the multivitamin. We man-made, synthetic, isolated these vitamins and put them in a pill and put them in our bodies. And as we all know, over the last 50 years, we have not gotten any healthier at all. And you can see right there what's on an ingredient of a multivitamin compared to what's actually in an apple. And what we need is what's in an apple, because our body knows what to do with that. So this has synergy. Ingredient number 7 and ingredient number 4018 and ingredient number 8002 work together in our body to either heal us or keep us well from the inside out. And my favorite example of this is lycopene. Lycopene is found in a tomato and is known to fight prostate cancer. But they're finding that when they remove the lycopene from the tomato, it has no effect on the cancer. And that's because that lycopene is working with those thousands of other ingredients present in the tomato to do exactly what it's designed to do in our body. So we really do need more. The government says that we need 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every single day, the size of our fist. Most people don't do it. If you're exercising, if you're pregnant, if you're fighting disease, you actually need closer to 18 to 20 servings a day. I know I try really, really hard, and I'm probably lucky if I get 4 to 5. And really just more matters. We need as many as we can get. We need as many different colors as we can get. We need them to be as ripe as possible and have as few pesticides and herbicides and fungicides on them as possible. And we are excited, Amy and Bridget and myself, because we found an amazing product that allowed us to make one simple change. And the product is called Juice Plus. It was developed over 30 years ago by a doctor. His name is Dr. Smokey Santillo. And he was pretty ahead of his time. He worked with cancer patients and he helped them juice. And his dad was diagnosed with lymphoma. And he was given 3 weeks to live. So Dr. Smokey was trying to find a way to make his juice more powerful. So he decided that instead of juicing his fruits and vegetables, he was going to take the whole thing with the pits, the peel, the rind, the seeds, even the leaves, whenever possible, and blend it like in a massive Vitamix. And what was left over is a slurry. And he decided to dehydrate that at a cold temperature to preserve the nutrients. And what was left over was a powdered produce, pretty much just food turned powdered fruits and vegetables. And he pumped his dad full of this powdered produce, and he ended up living for 6 more years. And not only did he live, but he thrived. He had a great quality of life. And it was at that time that Dr. Smokey knew that he was onto something. So our product, Juice Plus, hit the market 25 years ago. And we are incredibly unique for a few reasons. First of all, if you can see in my camera, we are just food. So we have a nutrition label. This is not a vitamin or a supplement label. I knew this product was really unique when I found it when my son was 3 months old. And I learned that when he was 6 months old, I could open up these capsules and put it in his food because it is just food. And I love that about our product. No warning label. And it's full of phytonutrition instead of isolated multivitamin or isolated vitamins. It's non-GMO, dairy-free, and gluten-free. We have an NSF certification, which is a third party that guarantees that what we say is in our product is and nothing more. It is the highest level of certification you can get, and they are the ones who test for mold, bacteria, herbicides, pesticides, fungicides. It's very, very important that that is not in our product for our own bodies, for our children's bodies. And then finally, when this product hit the market 25 years ago, people started having unique experiences. Maybe somebody's asthma went away and somebody's eczema went away and somebody else's cholesterol was better. And so they decided to research our product on human beings with blood drawn to see what happened. And now we have 38 published studies with 6 underway, and we are the most researched nutritional product in the world. We've been researched at Yale, Vanderbilt, Brigham Young, MD Anderson Cancer Center, all proving just that our body knows that this is what it is, fruits and vegetables. Our body knows what to do with it, and it does amazing things when we take it. So I'm going to tell you my favorite study because I cannot help myself. This was done at the University of Maryland, and it was published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. And it was the brainchild of a group of cardiologists. And they knew that 50% of heart attacks happen 4 hours after a high-fat meal. It's why Christmas, New Year's, Easter, Thanksgiving are terrible days in the emergency room. And they wanted to see the effects of Juice Plus on heart health. So they decided to take this group to a very popular fast food restaurant, and they were going to feed them a high-fat, it wasn't even that much food, but a high-fat fast food breakfast. And then they waited 4 hours and measured the constriction in their brachial artery. And then they divided the group into 3. So they put one group on a placebo, one was on our fruit and our veggies, our orchard and garden is what it says on there. And then the last one was on our fruit, veggies, and our berry blends. And they waited only 28 days. The first bar is that the constriction is that gray bar, and then the purple bar is 28 days later. So they waited 28 days later and took them back to that restaurant, fed them the same meal, and waited 4 hours and measured the constriction in their artery. As you can see, the placebo group had the least amount in the beginning. Everyone had between 40 and 50% constriction. And the placebo had a very slight reduction 28 days later. The group on our fruits and our veggies had 68% less constriction 28 days later. And the group on all 3 with our berries, they went from 50% constriction to less than 1% constriction. They had a reduction of 98%. And this is really powerful to me because this group changed nothing else. They didn't change their diet. All they did was add in this encapsulated powdered produce. And it just shows you how thirsty and hungry our bodies are for good nutrition, and that our bodies know exactly what to do with it. More good changes outweigh the bad that we can do. So I absolutely love that study. So we also have these delicious shakes. They come in chocolate and vanilla. I have a friend who calls it her chocolate broccoli. And I want you to consider that your body is like a car. So a car needs oil and gas and a high quality of both, and to be kept up on both to run well, and our body is the same. So our body needs micronutrition and macronutrition. So micronutrition is those thousands of ingredients that are present in an apple. It's what makes our body run efficiently. It's what makes us healthy. And that it would be like the oil in your car. Now, you know, if you delayed an oil change or you used a not so great oil, that your car would still run as long as it had gas, but it just wouldn't be running as well. And that's what happens when our bodies are depleted in micronutrition. Our capsules are full of micronutrition. Our shakes have micro and macronutrition. Macronutrition would be like the gas. So that is proteins, fats, and carbs. And in our country, we have a ton of macronutrition, but most of it is very low quality. So that is where our shakes come in. It helps bridge that gap. They're low glycemic, so they stabilize your blood sugar. The number one thing that my friends say is that these actually keep them full. They're vegan and non-GMO, gluten and dairy-free. They're plant-based. They have 24 different plants in them, and amazing, powerful prebiotic fibers that will help keep you regular. And they are just delicious. Really, that's what's important. And then last October, we came up with our first capsule product in over 15 years. And this is our Juice Plus Omega blend. So we knew, again, that there was a deficiency and an issue with the quality of omegas that we were receiving. And we know that omegas are shown to support our heart, brain, joints, skin, and eyes. A lot of people take a fish oil for omega-3s, but ours is a full spectrum omega. So it's omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. We believe God put all of them on this earth for a reason, and we need all of them, and they come from all plants. So we skipped the fish, and we get our omega-3s from the algae, which is where the fish get it from. So the fish are really happy with us. It makes it also much more sustainable. And this is what took so long. I don't know if you can see in my camera, but they're in these beautiful capsules. So we came up with the technology to cold press our vegetarian capsules. And this is a big deal because if you're taking an oil product and it's fully encapsulated, they have to heat up that capsule to such a temperature that it degrades the quality of the oil inside. So we took the time to find a way to make it cold pressed so that our oils can maintain their high quality. I'm absolutely crazy about these things, and I'll tell you why when I tell you my story in just a little bit. And so this was Dr. Richard Dubois. He's the head of infectious disease in Atlanta. He was the first of thousands of medical professionals to come alongside our community almost 25 years ago. And he says there is nothing available anywhere else in the world with or without a prescription that has been clinically proven to do what Juice Plus does. And he basically sums it up right there. So at this point, I'm going to send it over to Amy. I'm going to stop sharing my screen to unmute herself and share her story about why she invited you onto this call and why Juice Plus made sense.
Hi, everyone. So most of you that know me know that I'm not a big fan of vegetables. And eat very little fruits too, even though I do enjoy the fruits. And I see my mom, I think she's nodding her head and making eyes at me. But I decided a while ago to make a change in my health. I wanted to be healthier, and as I'm getting older, I just knew that I needed more fruits and vegetables in my diet. So my sister had started taking Juice Plus, and I was like, I really need to do that. She actually had started taking it for her son, Luke. And so I started taking the fruits and vegetables I think it was September. And then in February, I think it was, I added the berries and I added the omegas. And initially, I was just wanting to get good nutrition in my body. I wasn't really expecting anything more than that, other than just getting nutrition and hoping and knowing that good things are going on inside my body. But since then, what I have noticed is I was starting to have some issues with arthritis in my knees. And I am not having any of that at all, knock on wood. The other day, I started, one thing that I just happened to notice was I have dealt for years and years with acne when I was younger, and then into adult acne. And I am, all of a sudden I was like, oh, wait a minute. I haven't had like a major breakout in a really long time. Like, it was one of those things that I hadn't even thought about. And then also, I guess the biggest thing for me is that I, for a while, was on an allergy medicine. I took allergy pill every day, all year, not just seasonally. And I am no longer on an allergy pill. And I had stopped those back in like March or so, coming into the spring season. I don't know if I was supposed to, but I kind of wanted to do my own little test. And I never had an issue. And since taking all of this stuff, I have not been, again, knock on wood, I have not been sick once. And I normally always got a sinus infection in the spring and one in the fall to go along with my allergies. And I did not get one this year. So I am believing that there are lots of other good things going on that I just haven't really picked up on yet. So that's kind of my story.
Oh, I love that, Amy. I can totally relate about the allergies and the sinus infection. So that is so good to hear. And you hit the nail on the head. It's just our stories, when we can see the tangible effects, are really just the outward showing of what's happening to our bodies at a cellular level. So I love when we can see those good changes. So Bridge, if you don't mind unmuting yourself and sharing your story, we'd love to hear from you.
Sure. Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay, Julie? Okay. So I found Juice Plus about 2.5 years ago from my husband's cousin, and it struck a chord with me because I remembered it from my dad being involved way back in the very beginning before it was even Juice Plus. So anyway, fast forward, I knew that my family was not getting the 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. And I mean, to be honest, there's 5 of us. And if we were getting 7 to 13 divided by all 5 of us in a week, we were doing good. So it was pretty bad. But anyway, so it made sense. We started, it was great. I started with the trio, and about a month after added in the shakes, and my kids were able to get it free right away because of the Children's Health Study. I sponsored one of my kids, and then we have an uncle that they did not have any kids in their life, so they were able to sponsor our other child, and then my husband sponsored our other child. So our kids all get it for free, which is such a gift. So started with, no expectations, just the peace of mind that we were going to get this fabulous nutrition in us. And it was about 2 months I really kind of noticed that I just kind of had a little more energy, a little more mental clarity, just kind of more of a, kick in my step. And it was about the 3-month mark that it was the biggest change that I just really one day was like, holy smokes, my digestion had completely changed. So I have a lung disease called cystic fibrosis, but it doesn't only affect the lungs, it affects the sinus, lungs, kidneys, liver, and pancreas. And your digestion of a CF patient can just become a nightmare, which is where mine had gone about a year prior to this. So to have a change in that and anything positive, it literally gave me my quality of life back. And I had made no other change at that time other than just adding in the trio and the shakes. So once I really put that together, I started really paying attention to the research, which blew me away. And I became such a geek about it, which is hilarious because I could care less about anything scientific. But this just really spoke to me about how powerful this is. Something so simple can be so powerful. So just got more and more excited, started going to events and learning. Really fell in love with this community. The people are excited and just really want to help each other feel better, do better, and be well. We bought a tower garden about 6 months later after we started. That's been a ton of fun. So just today I was looking, I've got this rainbow Swiss chard that is ready to be harvested. And I've never in my life even tasted rainbow Swiss chard, but it looks amazing because the color is so fantastic. And I still have it growing on my tower garden because I'm not going to pick it until I'm ready to use it tomorrow night for dinner. So loaded with phytonutrients in my plants in that tower garden. So it's super exciting. So in a nutshell, I am super excited to be a part of it. I'm so happy to have met Amy. She would not be in my life had it not been for this Juice Plus community. And she's been such a blessing. So it's all around, this has been the most positive experience my family has had. So it's just been wonderful.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Bridge. So we do have another product called the Tower Garden. She just hit on that. It's a vertical aeroponic growing system that was developed at Disney. So in case you're wondering what the heck she was just talking about, it's pretty amazing. So you can ask Amy if you're into gardening. Anyway, real quickly, I'll wrap it up with sharing my story. So when I found Juice Plus almost 4 years ago, my son was 3 months old, and I was curious because I remembered my uncle who was going through chemotherapy had been on it years and years prior. And it really was when I learned I could open up the capsules and put it in my son's mouth at 6 months that I knew it was different. And I was very excited because my mom had rheumatoid arthritis. My grandma had rheumatoid arthritis. They're autoimmune diseases, or it is an autoimmune disease. And I had learned, I inherited my mom's gut whenever she had me. So I was probably on that path. And I was looking into everything I could do to prevent autoimmune disease, and everything was telling me to juice, and I didn't want to juice. So this was the easy button, and I was happy about it. I got on it with zero expectations, and what I found was my terrible chronic allergies that would lead to sinus infections that would land me on an antibiotic every 7 to 8 weeks still have not happened. So I'm going on 4 years of not being on an antibiotic, which is unheard of for me. I had much more energy. My mood was better. I didn't realize the big correlation with my mood until I had friends also get off of anxiety medicine. And then I learned that over 80% of our serotonin is made in our gut. And that's the neurotransmitter that tells our brain that we're happy. And so it made sense to me. Our gut is fed by fruits and vegetables. So everything was just working how it was designed to work. Finally, when I added these omegas last October, I'm having much less brain fog and much more mental clarity. I used to have these episodes in the afternoon where I feel like my mind was going a mile a minute, but my body was in slow motion. And I'm no longer having that. And I'm crazy, crazy about these things. And I know many women who've had the same experience. But really, it's the peace of mind that my now 4-year-old son, my 2-year-old daughter, my husband and I, we get it every single day. Even if it's a day that's full of pizza and ice cream, we just get this wide variety of vine ripened produce into our body every single day. So I'm so excited to be a part of this community and be sharing this with you. So at this point, we invite you to do one of 3 things. The first is maybe you're pumped up to go to the grocery store and get a lot of fruits and vegetables and eat as many as you can. And if that's how you feel, totally do it. We would love for you to be healthier. Number 2 is maybe Juice Plus is making sense to you and you would like to give it a try. If so, let Amy know. It's only around $2 to $3 a day, depending on where you get started. Children get it for free, age 4 through 18, or a full-time college undergrad. And it's the simplest, most affordable way we know for people to add a massive amount of nutrition to their bodies. And then finally, if you heard these stories, heard this message, and you thought of people in your life that need to hear this, please let Amy know that.